On Ravnica, whomever you are, a soldier or scientist, merchant or spy, your guild is the core of your identity. It provides structure and great purpose. Now is the time to defend it. Welcome, my name is Rebecca, or Elspeth from the Planeswalker Pantheon, and here I am bringing you this box opening of the newest set, Guilds of Ravnica. It feels so great to be back. Return to Ravnica was the set that I first started in, so everyone who was freaking about how Dominaria is coming home, this is coming home for me personally. That was about 5 years ago, and honestly, I've changed a lot since then, just like a lot of people have. But that's enough talk, and let's just get cracking into this wonderful box. I'm filming this before the end of my pre-release weekend, so I did Golgari today to see if I could get myself a full Assassin's Trophy. Unfortunately, I was not successful in that pursuit, but hey, there's always time, right? There could be one in this box even. I'll just quickly go through commons, read out uncommons and rares. I love filming with a new camera. But I will go slow enough for the comments so you could probably pause and read if you want to read it. If I have interesting stories, I'll tell them as well. Our first uncommon is a Night Vale Predator. So for 2 blue, 2 black, you get a Flying Death Touch Hexproof 3/3. I do not know how you ever deal with this in Limited. Ever. I don't think you can, really. This seems too good to be an uncommon. City Watch Sphinx. It's 5 and a blue for a 5/4 Flying Sphinx. When it dies, you surveil 2. Pardon me. Crush Contraband. So for 3 and a white, you get an instant. Choose one or both. Exile target artifact. Exile target enchantment. And our rare is Final and Finality. So for Find and Finality, for black, double Golgari, black and green, you return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. And Finality is 4 black-green for a sorcery. You may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, then all creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. And we've got the Guild Gate. So, how was your pre-releases? The one that I'm filming this after my first pre-release, where I went with Golgari, it was pretty good. Oh, filming with this new camera feels so great. Lockets, these are quite good and limited. Our first uncommon is a Ledev Champion, so 1 green and white, you get an Elf Knight, which is a 2/2. Whenever it attacks, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Ledev Champion gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature trapped. And for 3 green and white, you get a 1/1 white soul creature token with lifelink. Dimius Spybug. So for blue-black, you get a 1/1 flying creature with menace. And whenever you surveil, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. Creeping Chill, so for 3 and a black sorcery, it deals 3 damage to each opponent, and you gain 3 life, and when it is put into the graveyard from your library, you may exile it. If you do, Creeping Chill does its effect again. And our rare is a Legion Warboss, so this is the brand new Rabble Master. So for 2 and a red, creature Goblin Soldier, it has 2/2, it has Mentor, so whenever it attacks, we put a +1/+1 counter on target creature with lesser power. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. That token gains haste until end of turn and attacks this combative Fable. Interesting interaction with the card that makes angels. It replaces the goblin with the angel. That angel gains haste and will have to attack. And we got Idris Elba. Variety Shieldmate. I saw people joking about how that's yet another card that will look like Idris Elba. Insect. So we've got a Warboss, which is quite sweet. Of course, what we're looking for here are our Assassin's Trophies, Shocklands. I'm looking for a bunch of stuff for Standard, because I'm still going to be playing Control. Disdainful Stroke is a nice reprint back. Our first uncommon is Ocarina Assassin, so for 1 black green, you get a 1/1 elf assassin with Death Touch. All creatures able to block Ocarina Assassin do so. Oh, this is also an uncommon, sorry. Undercity Necrolisk, for 3 and a black, you get a 3/3 zombie lizard. You pay 1, sacrifice another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it. It gains menace, and you can only activate it as a sorcery. How did I miss that? I'll never know. Pilfering Imp, so it's a 1 mana 1/1 with flying. For 1 and black, you tap and sacrifice it, and you basically get to Thoughtseize without paying the life. And our rare is Assura and Assemble. So for hybrid Selesnya, 2 hybrid Selesnya, you get an instant, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. That creature gains indestructible until end of turn. And for 4 green-white, you get an instant where you create 3 2/2 green-white elf knight tokens with vigilance. Very, very good. And we got a full Truefire Captain. So, because it's the first time we've seen this uncommon, this is the Boros uncommon in the cycle. So for 2 red, 2 white, you get a 4/3 with Mentor. When it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the target player, which is quite sweet. Guildgate Soldier. If I come up with any stories, I'll let you know, but otherwise this is just a box opening. Notion Rain, very, very good. I think this is going to see standard play for absolute certain. Our first uncommon is a Beam Splitter Mage, so for blue and a red, you get a 2/2 Vidalcan Wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets only the mage, if you control one or more other creature, you can make a copy of that spell targeting that creature. Lava Coil, this is very, very good removal. So for 1 and a red, you get a sorcery. It deals 4 damage to target creature. If it would die this turn, exile instead. Discovery and Dispersal, so for 1 generic and a Dimir hybrid, you surveil 2, then draw a card. And then you get Dispersal, so for 3 blue and a black, each opponent returns a non-land permanent they control with the highest CMC, and then they discard a card. And our first mythic is Mnemonic Betrayal. So for 1 blue black, it's a sorcery. You exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. You may cast those cards this turn. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any type. At the beginning of the next end step, if any of those cards remain exiled, return them to the graveyard, and you exile the Mnemonic Betrayal. So there could be some fun, crazy stuff that you can do with that, I imagine. I'm not a brewer, I'll be honest. But I can imagine there could be some crazy turns that you can have, because it's kind of like... no, there's some effects that can do it. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Radical Idea, the new Think Twice. Kitty. Notion Rain, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards. Notion Rain, it deals 2 damage to you. Notion Rain. I'm sorry, I had to do it at least once. Just once. Our first uncommon is Memory Mystic, so for 3 and a blue, you get a 1/5 human wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you create a 1/1 blue bird illusion, which I think are the same birds from the Days invocation. Some Home Stalwart, so for 1 and a white, you get a 2/2 human soldier with First Strike and Mentor. Very, very good. Circulus Root, this is probably the new Explosive Vegetation. So for 3 and a green, you get to search a library for up to 2 basic lands and you get to put them on the battlefield tapped. And our rare is Mausoleum Secret. So it's a 1 black instant. Search a library for a black card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of creature cards. Reveal it and put it to your hand and shuffle your library. Okay, let's fix it. You may have noticed a change in quality. I've got a brand new camera, so it makes this a lot nicer to film with. fresh recruit, I kind of want to get a pen and like each turn is on there on the field. I just want to draw little bits of stubble. Eventually, hopefully, turn him into a grizzled veteran. Our first uncommon is Flower and Flourish. So for 1 Selesnya, you get to search your library for a basic forest on plains, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle your library. And for 4 green and white, you get a sorcery. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Very good, I think, in a token deck that may or may not come to existence. Rock Charger, so for 2 and a white, you get a 1/3 creature bird with flying. Whenever it attacks, target creature gains target attacking creature without flying gains flying. So it's basically Pegasus Courser from previous sets, which is kind of interesting that they've upgraded to uncommon. Glowspore Shaman, so for green and black, you get a creature elf shaman, which is a 3/1. When it enters the battlefield, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. You may put a land card from your graveyard on top of your library. And our rare is Camaraderie. So for 4 green and white, it's a sorcery. You gain X life, draw X cards where X is the number of creatures you control. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So it's kind of the creature version of Sphinx's Rev. I'm digressing though. Guildgate. And Goblin. Get in there, boys. You heard him. I love the cycle of lockets. I think they're going to be very good for standard. Darkblade Agent, a very, very good card. Our first uncommon is Truefire Captain. Our second uncommon is Nightveil Sprite. So for 1 and a blue, you get a 1/2 fairy rogue with flying, and whenever it attacks, you surveil 1. Goblin Banneret. For one red, you get a 1/1 Goblin Soldier with Mentor. And for 1 and red, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And our rare is Blood Operative. This is the 3rd one I've opened so far between my 1 pre-release and this box. So for 1 black, you get a creature vampire assassin which has lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile target card from a graveyard. Whenever you surveil, if Blood Operative is in your graveyard, you may pay 3 life. If you do, return Blood Operative to your hand. Okay. Let me know if you like this way of doing box openings. Do you like the more sort of storytelling? Do you want draft tips? I try to do it wherever I can, really. Rubbish out of here. Conclave Tribunal, so this is something I definitely think we'll see play in standard. So for 3 and a white, it's an enchantment with Convoke, so you can tap creatures to help cast it. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. So nice new O-ring. You always could do with more of those in standard. Golgari Raiders, so for 3 and a green, it's a creature elf warrior with haste. It has undergrowth, so when it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter for each creature card in your graveyard. Hellkite Whelp, so for 4 and a red, you get a 3/3 creature dragon with flying. When it attacks, it deals 1 damage to target creature defending player controls. Oh, and a Water Grave. I actually need one of these. So for those who aren't familiar, the first 5 shocklands are in this set. So you've got Temple Gardens, Watery Grave, Underground Tomb, and Steam Vents. I almost forgot. Is it? I am so sorry. So Watery Grave is the blue-black version. It's a land, island, swamp. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 life for it to enter play untapped. Otherwise, it enters tapped. Very nice. I actually needed one of those for standard, because I did not quite collect all my playsets when I was first playing, because I didn't realise how good they were. come on. If, honestly, my honest prediction, I hope we get either in the final set or like a set on rotation that we get the Zendikar fetches back. That might be a little too much hoping for me though, and I'm fair to be wrong in that. I'm happy to be wrong in that prediction. So, first uncommon is Join Shield. So for 3 green and white, it's an instant. You untap all creatures you control. They gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Conclave Guild Mage. This is also a part of a cycle, so each guild will have its own guild mage, usually a 2-mana 2/2, with 2 different abilities. For the Conclave Guild Mage, it's an elf cleric. You pay a green and tap it to gain creatures you control gain trample. And then for 5 and a white, you get to create a 2/2 green and white elf token with vigilance. Rampaging Monument. So for 4 mana, you get an artifact creature cleric. It has trample. It enters the battlefield with 3+1/+1 counters on it. When you cast a multicolored spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Rampaging Monument, which is quite nice. And our rare is the Loading Ready Run preview card, Swiftblade Vindicator. If you haven't watched the video where they spoil this, watch it. It's hilarious. It's a creature. It's a human soldier. It's a 1/1. It has double strike, vigilance, and trample. So, other words, keyword soup. Guildgate and Burb. And I've got to try and get a bigger space to film these a bit better. Let's see here. Hang on. I'm also going through these slow enough so if you do want to actually read what the commons do, you've got the option to do so. If you do like this way, let me know. Our first uncommon is the Swarm Guild Mage. So for green or black, you get a 2/2 Elf Shaman. For 4 and a black and tap it, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain menace. And for 1 and green and tap, you gain 2 life. Arbitorium Elemental. So for 7 green, you get a 7/5 with Convoke and Hexproof. It's a big thing. Again, I don't know how you would deal with this. Enhanced Surveillance. So for 1 blue, you get an enchantment. You may look at additional 2 cards each time you surveil. Exile the surveillance, and you may shuffle your graveyard into your library. Really nice. Midnight Reaper. So for 2 and a black, you get a Zombie Knight. Could be good in a future Knights deck, who knows. It's a 3/2. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, it deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. Very nice. Is it Guildgate? Is it though? Is it though? So what did you guys play for your pre-release? Did you get anything really spicy? Did you open the Assassin's Trophy like an absolute maniac? What guilds did you play? What were your favourite cards and what were your stories? Feel free to comment them down below. Goblin Locksmith. I love how this is the artwork of how a goblin would unlock a door. Cosmotronic Wave. Vincent Pro's back doing amazing artwork. Goblin Electromancer. I was so hyped when I saw this being reprinted because I was like, holy crap, maybe there'll be a blue-red Canterburn deck, which I think will be in existence. Sunset common too. Whispering Snitch. So for 1 black, you get a 1/3 Vampire Rogue. Whenever you surveil for the first time each turn, it deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. Night Veil Predator. We've gone through this one. Thought Rage. This is another card I've been needing for my standard deck. So for blue and a black, it's a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card and you surveil 1. Very, very, very good. And our rare is Ionize. So for 1 blue-red, it's an instant counter target spell. It deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. Very nice. Very, very nice. Sweet Insect for Zoni Thousandite, I believe is the only card that creates that. This is actually surprisingly good removal. Like, I was surprised at how many targets it was actually good for. Except if you're playing in Boros. I think it's designed more for Boros and Selesnya. First uncommon is the Goblin Crater Maker. So for 1 and a red, get a creature Goblin Warrior. It's a 2/2, pay 1, sacrifice it. It deals 2 damage to target creature or destroy colorless non-land permanent. In other words, one of the cards that people have been saying, oh, this is the end for Tron. Which, I'm kind of middle on. Sprouting Renewal. So for 2 and a green, you get a sorcery with Convoke. You may choose one. Create a 2/2 green and white Elf Knight token with Vigilance, or destroy target artifact or enchantment. So it's actually pretty decent. Wand of Vertebra. So for one mana, you get an artifact. You tap to put the top card of your library into your graveyard, and then for 2, tap and exile the wand. Shuffle up to 5 target cards from your graveyard into your library. And we got a Temple Garden. This, I believe, actually completes my personal playset, although I'd like one more so I don't have to play my masterpiece. It's the green-white Shockland. I don't have to read that text again. And a foil is a Guildgate. Nice. Oh, and a normal one. Sweet. So that was a pretty land-happy pack there. Muscles. Killstalk is actually, I think, surprisingly good in draft. I normally don't take 1/1s for 1 with flying, but who knows, with Convoke and Mentor, it could get out of control really quickly. I like this new artwork for Sky Knight Legionnaire as well. Another case of Minotaurs getting used as target practice. Golgari Raiders. Inescapable Blaze. So for 4 red for an instant, it can't be countered. It deals 6 damage to any target. So your face. Inspiring Unicorn. So for 2 white, you get a 2/2. Whenever it attacks, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. And my rare is Bounty Agent. So for 1 white, it's a 2/2 with Vigilance. It's a human soldier. Tap and sacrifice the agent. Destroy target legendary permanent that's an artifact, creature, or enchantment. When I read that last line, I cried a little bit because it doesn't hit legendary lands, legendary... Like it doesn't hit planeswalkers or anything like that, so it's a little bit bumming to say that. Dimir Guildgate. And more tokens. I find this format to be actually relatively mid-rangey and slow. Like, if you get the good Boros deck, you could very easily run someone over. Otherwise, it's a it's actually quite mid-rangey. I found this format to be. Affectionate Indrik. So for 5 and a green, you get a 4/4 creature beast. When it enters the battlefield, you may have it fight target creature you don't control. I've seen online people replacing this art with the art on Fatal Push, and it's so perfect. I cried with laughter when I saw how funny the image looked with this art on Fatal Push. So we got the wee Dragonaut. So for 1 blue and a red, you get a creature which is a fairy wizard. It's a 1/3 with flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So those wee Dragonauts can get very big very quick. Book Devourer, so that's me in my spare time. So for 5 and a red, you get a 4/5 creature beast with trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may discard all cards in your hand. If you do, draw that many cards. And our rare is a Vivid Revival. So for 4 and a green, you return up to 3 multicolored cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile the Vivid Renewal. Sweet. And we got a Guildgate. So I can't wait to start drafting this set. Ravnica sets are notorious for being very, very fun to draft. I got bored of Core 19. Once I built the insane milled deck, I was like, okay, I've done everything I want to do with this format. I'm done. I can't wait for Ravnica. Which is kind of sad for me as a drafting player, personally. But I just can't wait to get my hands on this set. Because it looks so fun to draft. Our first uncommon is Beacon Bolt. So for 1 blue and a red, it's a sorcery. It deals damage to target creature equal to the total number of instants and sorcery cards you own in exile in your graveyard with Jumpstart. Exile is very important because the Jumpstart mechanic, because of how Jumpstart works. Golgari Finebroker. So for 2 black, 2 green, you get a 3/4 Elf Shaman. When it enters the battlefield, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. And Grappling Sundew, so for 1 and a green, you get a 0/4 creature plant with Defender and Reach. For 4 and a green, it gains indestructible until end of turn. And our rare is the Nullhide Ferox, which is some people have been saying could be very good in Modern for the mono green Stompy decks. So for 2 and 2 green, it's a creature beast with hexproof. You can't cast non-creature spells. Okay. For 2 mana, Nullhide Ferox loses all abilities until end of turn, and any player may activate this ability. If a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard the Ferox, put it into the battlefield instead of putting it into your graveyard. So, you see that, you do not touch it with the exile, with your discard. Don't do it, because you'll be regretting it for a year. Because a 6/6 with hexproof, and once it's on the field, you kind of can't deal with it. One thing I never realized I needed in my Magic set is Ravnica in Autumn. The artwork's so pretty. Our first uncommon is Price of Fame. So for 3 and a black, it's an instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a legendary creature. Destroy a target creature, surveil 2. Very good, I actually need one of these. Integrity and Intervention. So for 1 Boros, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Or for 2 red and white, Intervention deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. District Guide. So for 2 and a green, you get an Elf Scout, which is a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land or gate, reveal it and put it to your hand, then shuffle your library. And our rare is Quasi Duplicate. So for 1 blue, it's a sorcery. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, and you may jumpstart it. And we've got a full moon mark painter, which looks kind of sick, actually. Kitty cat. I was just thinking about this pack for draft. It would have been pretty good. Okay, so Gatekeeper Gargoyle. It's an artifact creature gargoyle. It's a 3/3 of flying. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each gate you control. For 6. Electrostatic Field. So for 1 and a red, it's a creature it's a wall with Defender. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Again, counterburn, people. Gird for Battle. So for 1 white sorcery, you put a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 target creatures. And our rare is Expansion Explosion. So, Expansion for 2 mana. Copy target instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. You may choose new targets. And Explosion for X, blue, red. It deals X damage, and that's an instant. Explosion, X, blue, red. It's an instant. Explosion deals X damage to any target. That target player draws X cards. And another guild gate. And no more goblins. drop the hammer. Sorry. I want to learn to stop making such weird jokes when I'm opening cards. But hey, that's just me. That's why you come here. Hypothizzle. Alright, so Hazda Marshal. For 1 white, you get a 1/1 human soldier. Whenever the Marshal and at least 2 other creatures attack, you create a 1/1 soldier creature token with lifelink. Selective Snare. So for X and a blue, you return X target creatures of the creature type of your choice to their owner's hand. This is very bizarre removal for blue. In blue. Legion Guildmage. So for red and a white, you get a human wizard. For 5 red and tap it, it deals 3 damage to each opponent. And then for 2 and a white, tap another target creature. It's a 2/2. And our rare is another split card. So response. For 2 Boros, it deals 5 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Resurgence. 3 red white. Creatures you control gain first strike and vigilance until end of turn. After this main phase, there is additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Wow. That could be potentially backbreaking. So you get an additional combat and additional main phase on top of what you would normally get. Jeez. That's kind of hefty, actually. Don't know if I'd first pick that in a draft, but then again, 2 mana for 5 damage to attacking or blocking creature is quite good. So even then, if you're not using the other half. First uncommon is a Kral Harpooner, which is very good at uncommon. So for 1 and a green, it's a creature insect warrior. It's a 3/2 with reach and with undergrowth. When it enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature of the flying you don't control. It gets +X/+O until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Then you may have Kral Harpooner fight that creature. So it just kills a flyer, which is really nice. Silent Dart. So for 1 mana, it's an artifact. For 1 mana, 4 tap and sack. It deals 3 damage to target creature. It makes me sad a little bit that this is uncommon. Kral Swarm. So for 4 and a black, you get a 4/1 creature insect warrior with flying. For 2 and a black, discard a creature card. Return Kral Swarm from your graveyard to your hand. And we've got a Vraska. Nice. So for 2 black and green, it's a legendary planeswalker Vraska. It has 4 loyalty. So you +2, you may sacrifice another permanent. This includes your lands. If you do, you gain 1 life and draw a card. -3, you basically get an Abrupt Decay. Destroy a target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. And for -9, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. I had a time where I had the Ocarina Assassin. I had an Ocarina Assassin. I ultimated Vraska because my partner actually opened one. I was in Golgari. And they just lost on the spot, which is very hilarious. Very, very hilarious, because the assassin forces everyone to block it, and you get the point of where that's going after that. Yeah, it's good times. Very good times. New gate, which is quite nice. Great for those people who love to play Maze's End. Maze's End. That's some good times. Miguel Villeneuve crushed it with art in this set. My god. Might of the Masses. So for a single green in an instant, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature you control. Creeping Chill. Thoughtband Phantasm. I think there is going to be like a Turbo Surveil deck somewhere in Standard. So for 1 blue, you get a creature spirit. It's a 2/2 with Defender. Whenever you surveil, put a +1/+1 counter on Thoughtbound Phantasm. As long as it has 3 or more counters, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. And our rare is Tajik, Legion's Edge. So for 1 red and white, it's a 3/2 human legendary creature human soldier with haste and mentor. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control. And for 2, a red and a white, you get first strike until end of turn. And a foil, wee Dragonauts! Actually, the foil on this looks really sweet. Wee! And a Guildgate. So, what's everyone's favorite card in the set? Honestly, I can't decide what my favorite card is. Like, obviously, Assassin's Trophy is great, and that's what everyone's after. But, oh, I just can't wait for the next set when we get Azorius and Orzhov and like some of my personal favorite guilds. Like, that's what I love about Ravnica. It gets you excited for the next set straight away, because if your guild isn't here, you will get it eventually. I'm sorry, I can't get that song that I sung for Notion Rain out of my head. I apologise, and I've probably put it in your heads now. Rock Charger. Crackling Drake. So for two blue, 2 red, you get a creature drake with flying. It's a star fort. Its power is equal to the total number of instant and sorcery cards that you own in exile and in your graveyard. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Very, very good. This combined with Enigma Drake. I swear there is a blue-red deck. Blue-red aggro deck somewhere. Status and stature. So, for status, it's a single Golgari for an instant. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. And for statue, it's 2 red, 2 black, green, destroy target artifact, creature, or enchantment. So it's, I can't remember the green black one in this. I've just lost it. And our rare is a channel troll. So for 1 black, green, you get a creature troll with trample. When at the beginning of your upkeep, exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on channel troll. Otherwise, sacrifice it. For green or black, discard a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on channel troll. This can get out of control really quick, because you can activate this ability before this ability goes on the stack, and it just grows out of proportion really, really fast. Guildgate. Oops. And a soldier. I'm really happy that they've started now that Arena's out of beta, they've started actually putting codes now. There's 2 different ones, so you get 1 per pre-release pack, which will allow you entry to a sealed event. And then there's another code which will give you 3 boosters, just straight up. Unfortunately, the codes aren't unique, and it's only 1 per account. But still, it's nice that they're starting to open up to that idea, which Pokemon has been doing for a while. This card is so good. I can't believe how insanely good it is. Our first uncommon is a Glaive of the Guild pack. So for 2 mana, again, artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each gate you control and has vigilance and menace. And equipped for 3. I think this card's actually quite good, honestly, because you're at least playing at least a gate. And the vigilance and menace is usually quite good. Sunhome Stalwart. Circuitous Route. And our rare is Amara, Sword of the Accord. I've still got somewhere my, actually I put it back, my game day promo of this. So for Amara, you get a green and a white legendary creature, Elf Cleric. It's a 2/2. Whenever it becomes tapped, keyword becomes tapped, very important for Convoke. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. And a Guildgate. And another soldier. Come on, I want to hit at least a Assassin's Trophy. Just 1. I just want to hit 1. I still can hit my 4 rare, so I still could hit my foil. I actually like this new art for Disdainful Stroke better than the Khan's one with the Naga. First uncommon is a Molderhulk, so for 7 green black, you get a 6/6 creature, a fungus zombie with undergrowth. It costs 1 less for each creature card in your graveyard. When it enters the battlefield, return target land from your graveyard to the battlefield. Conclave Tribunal. Fly to the Equinauts, so for 7 and a white, you get a 4/5 human knight with Convoke and flying. Very, very nice. And a Sacred Foundry, nice. I think this actually, I already had my place of Sacred Foundry, so 1's going in a trade binder. So if it's a land, it's a mountain plains, you get the deal. I don't have to go through this one. And a Vraska emblem, nice. That's sweet. Vraska emblem. Come on, Rascal. Bless. You've got two here. Why not get the baby molasses trophy in this box too while we're at it? House Guild Mage. So for a blue and a black, it's a 2/2 human wizard. For one a blue, target creature does not untap it. Target creature does not untap during its control's next untap step. And for 2 and a black, you surveil 2. That's actually quite nice. Night Veil Sprite. Demir Spybug. So for blue and a black, you get a creature, a creature, insect. It's a 1/1. It has flying and medicine. Whenever you surveil, put a +1/+1 counter on the Spybug. And Guild Mage's Forum. So it's a land. It tap to add colors, and you pay 1 and tap it to add 1 mana of any color, so it filters. If that mana is spent on a multicolored creature spell, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter. So probably good for Commander. Probably. There are probably better things though, knowing my ability to know cards. Here after rare, which is interesting. Gatekeeper Gargoyle. World Soul Colossus. So for X, green and a white, it's a creature elemental with Convoke, and it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, so it can be very big or just very good on the curve. Playcrafters. So for 2 and a black, you get a creature human shaman. When it enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each player who can't discards a card, so it's going to get you either way. And our rare is an Omnispell Adept. So for 4 and a blue, you get a creature human wizard. For blue and two and a blue and tap it, you may cast an instant or sorcery card from your hand without paying its mana cost, which is quite nice. Quite nice. Gate. Part of me actually wants to buy the guild kits and maybe do an opening. Let me know if you want to see that, because the those actually look really sweet. Conclave Cavalier. So for 2 green, 2 white, you get a creature Centaur Knight which is a 4/4. It has Vigilance, and when it dies, it creates 2 green, 2/2 green and white Elf Knight tokens. This is very good. The fact that you still get its value, but across more bodies is quite good for the Selesnya. Goblin Banneret. Glowspore Shaman. And Gruesome Menagerie. So for 3 double black, it's a sorcery. You choose a creature card with converted mana cost 1 your graveyard, then do the same for converted mana costs 2 and 3. Return those to the battlefield. Nice. And the other reason why I do these cards one by one, even without reading them, is if you want to treat these videos like as though you're going to do a draft, you can see all the cards. Ocean Rain. Lava Coil is our first uncommon. I just almost completely missed that. So for 1 red, it deals 4 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. I think this is the premier red removal in the set. Swathcutter Giant. So for 4 red and white, it's a creature, Giant Soldier. It's a 5/5 with Vigilance. Whenever it attacks, it deals 1 damage to each creature defending player controls, which can surprisingly cut through a lot of the lines. Street Riot. So for 4 and a red, it's an enchantment. As long as it's your turn, creatures you control get +1/+0 and have trample. And our rare is Light of the Legion. So for 4 white, you get a creature angel. It's a 5/5 with flying and mentor. When it dies, put a +1/+1 counter on each white creature you control, which is very, very good. And a Wary Okapi. 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 I'll just blow. This is a very good ability, by the way. When it blocks or becomes blocked, it just hits something first. It's kind of first strike, but not really. Oops. Hammer dropper. Affectionate Indrik. Boris Challenger. So for a red and white, you get a 2/3 human soldier with mentor. For 2 red and white, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Book Devourer. And we got a Runaway Steamkin, which is quite interesting actually. So for 1 and a red, you get a 1/1 creature elemental. When you cast a red spell, if Runaway Steamkin has fewer than 3 +1/+1 counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Remove 3 counters and then add triple red, which is quite interesting. It's actually quite interesting. I think there could be some application for it somewhere. I mean, then again, I say that about a lot of cards, so forgive me. But I think there is some like very cool mono red that can just somehow go bigger. Justice Strike, so for red and a white, it's an instant. A target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power, which is quite cool. Smelt Ward Minotaur, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, target creature an opponent controls can't block. Very nice. Wand of the Vertebrae. And our rare is a Fine Mind's Research. So for blue and a red, it's an enchantment. When you cast instant or sorcery, put a charge counter on the research. 1 in blue, remove 2 charge counters, draw a card. 1 in red, remove 5 counters, it deals 5 damage. Nice. Token. Our first uncommon is Invert and Vent. Please note that this has been errated. Invent is actually 1 blue and a red. Switch the power and toughness of up to each of up to 2 target creatures until end of turn. That's the key thing. And Invent, so for 4 blue and a red, it's an instant. Search your library for an instant or sorcery card. Reveal them, and or a sorcery card. So it gets you 2 things. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your library. Necrotic Wound, so 1 black, it's an instant with Undergrowth. Target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. If that creature would die this turn, exile instead. Sprouting Renewal. And our rare is a Deafening Clarion, so for 1 red and white, it's a sorcery, choose 1 or both. It deals 3 damage to each creature. Creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. Very cool. It's interesting that red and white got a sweeper like that. Especially when it deals 3 damage, which would normally kill a lot of their stuff. Because a lot of their creatures tend to be a lot smaller. Electrostatic Field is their first uncommon. Lotleth Giant, so for 6 and a black, you get a 6/5 zombie giant with undergrowth. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to target opponent for each creature card in your graveyard. Golgari, Find Broker. And the rare is Ritual of Soot, so for 2 black, it's a sorcery, restore all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. Note, converted mana cost, this includes tokens, because they have a converted mana cost of 0. And Devious Cover-Up. I'm waiting for people to take Hyperthizzle and just sort of do Snoop Dogg altar artwork on it just for fun. Our first uncommon is Demotion, so for 1 white, it's an enchantment or enchant creature. An enchanted creature can't block and its activated abilities can't be activated. Inspiring Unicorn. Thought Erasure. And our rare is Dawn of Hope. So for 1 and a white, you get an enchantment. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 2. If you draw a card and then pay 3 and a white, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. I normally like to wait until after pre-release to crack these boxes, but I couldn't help myself. This set is I'm just so hyped for it. I just want to get as much of these cards into my hands as possible. Interesting thing, you can actually put this on your opponent's creatures, but be very careful with it. First uncommon is Join Shields. Second uncommon is Undercity Necrolisk. Our rare is a Crush Contraband, and our rare is a Chamber Sentry. So for X, it's an artifact creature construct. It's a 0/0. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. X and tap it, remove X +1/+1 counters. It deals X damage to any target. And for the full Wooburg, you can return it from your graveyard to your hand. Interesting. So 5-color guild stuff. I won't ever say 5-color good stuff when it comes to this. It'll be 5-color guild stuff. First uncommon is a Selective Snare, a Legion Guild Mage, and Pelt Collector is our rare, so it's a 1 mana 1/1, it's a creature, elf warrior. When another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, if that creature's power is greater than Pelt Collector's, put a +1/+1 counter on it. As long as the Pelt Collector has 3 or more +1/+1 counters on it, it has trample. Very, very nice. I could say it's seeing play in the Steel Leaf decks, actually, now that I'm sort of thinking about it and what's currently still in Standard. First uncommon is Necrotic Wound. Second uncommon is the House Guild Mage. The third uncommon is the Wee Dragonauts. I always do that, I apologise. And our rare, it's actually a mythic. It's Arclight Phoenix. So for 3 and a red, it's a 3/2 with Flying Haste. Begin combat on your turn. If you've cast 3 or more instant or sorcery spells this turn, return the Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. Our first uncommon is Guild Summit. So for 2 and a blue, it's an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, may tap any number of untapped gates you control. Draw a card for each gate tapped this way, and whenever a gate enters the battlefield, you draw a card. League Guild Mage. So this is the Izzet version. So for blue and a red, you get a 2/2 human wizard. For 3 and a blue, tap and draw a card. For X and a red, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control with converted mana cost X. You may choose new targets. Inescapable Blaze. And my last rare is Firemind's Research, which we talked about a little bit earlier. So that was the box, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. You can find me and any content that I make on the Planeswalker Pantheon on Facebook. You can follow me at Twitter down below. I'm usually the only one creating content. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Please follow the page. See ya!